This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 9th of April. This is the Plan Your Trade video for Wednesday, April 9th. We're looking at a rolling trend. Now, there have been a lot of comments, questions lately because I've been kind of nailing this, and I'm happy I'm nailing it. Getting lots of comments, but I'm also getting lots of, questions about, what I do, how I do, my beliefs, what have you. So let me go ahead and try to tell you guys something. So, price is the way I look at it, and this is my theory. Price is the ultimate indicator. Okay? Every minute, price gives us another piece of the puzzle. Applying price theory with technical theory allows us to attempt to identify, predict future price moves. So it's not like I am, quote unquote, seeing into the future or, some master at whatever. Now, yeah, I like to think my 35 plus years of trying to study the markets and figure things out adds to my ability to do this. But really, every bar, this is a daily chart, every bar, every minute, every hour gives us another piece of the puzzle. And remember, these new pieces, depending on what price does, will potentially change my analysis. Just like I originally thought that we would be moving into consolidation in this area, we broke down into this low. This now set up a new 100% measured move. This was all brought on by tariffs. We've got another move today with China and the US reciprocating tariffs. So what I do is I adapt my analysis, which is what traders do every day. You can't go into June thinking that or May going in thinking that what's going to happen. You have to play what is in front of you. It's like playing poker or playing blackjack. You get a new deck of cards and you have to figure out how to make it work. And then once that hand is done, you get another hand and it's totally different. And you have to figure out how to make that work. And this is the same thing. It's basically look at the data that's presented at you, like a new hand, a new 5-card hand in poker, and decide how you're going to play it to the best of your ability. This is not, rocket science. You will see me adapt my analysis to what price is doing, and you will see me do that on a regular basis. And again, that's what traders do every day, every minute, every hour. So be aware that, I'm not doing anything that any other trader doesn't do. The only difference is, in my opinion, is that I have a couple of, advanced techniques that I like to use that seem to work for me. And like I said, I think we're looking again at a market that is in a broad market turmoil, moving into this downward cycle trend. I do believe that this support 480, 490 area is going to act as moderate support. You can see I've labeled the lower consolidation, the ultra low, mid breakdown, and what I think will be the ultimate low here. My original ultimate low was this 480, 500 area. It was really 500, 505. But the tariffs came in. And I think ultimately, had we not had the tariffs expand the breakdown range here, pushing the markets down into this level, we would have had consolidation back over here in this area. The markets are still strong. The only reason we had this big breakdown is because of tariffs that were announced. So understand that we're looking at a big breakdown because of tariffs. We've got another big tariff raise today between the US and China, and that changed my analysis. This was the consolidation range that I expected. But again, price tells us everything. So now with this breakdown, I did a lot of research last week and last weekend. I showed it to you, well, some of it to you, not all of it. And now I think we're moving down into this range. So the 480 to 520 area is really the resistance area, in my opinion. And if something happens today where we get another 100% measured move, understand that that would be, well, here it is. That would be this move right here. If we get another big breakdown, I'll make this red so you can see it. Imagine, okay, Brad, what happens if we get another breakdown? There's our move down to the 480, 490 area. And look, paste this again right down into here. Look at where it takes us. Takes us right down here to the 436 area. So right down with our ultimate low. So again, we're going to see how this plays out. I believe that price, barring any broad sideways trending or broad price event, which could be, war or some other crazy event, breakdowns in the market, margin calls, credit banking crisis setting up because of this. I believe we're going to move into consolidation. And yes, I had a guy ask me yesterday, do you really believe that it could stall out here into, a sideways channel out into June and then start to move downward? Yeah, I do. You want a good example of that? Here, I'll come over and show you a good example of stalling in a sideways channel. Well, let me come over here and do it on the main index because it's highlighted already. So look, here's Bitcoin. And here's Bitcoin stalling into a sideways channel right across here. Basically from this low all the way across 92,000 up to 108,000. It stalled from December 16th, 17th, 18th as a high all the way till it broke out over here in February. Guess what? That's 3 months of wide consolidated trending. Okay, now we have moved into the consolidation pattern right down here, set the low, been rolling through the consolidation pattern. We're stalling out down here near these lows. I do expect it to try to break down. That would be the next big move. But we could just as easily roll back up into an uptrend. That would be very cleanly into the consolidation pattern again. We could be looking at the breakdown here of the consolidation pattern from March now into March 11th into April 10th. That's a 30-day rolling of the consolidation pattern. And again, you can see months, 3, 4, 5 months of rolling into sideways trending. It happens. You don't want to hear it, but it happens. I'll try to find an example for you later. Okay, so without losing my time, which I'm already done, this will be a nice quick little one. We're looking at the top resistance in bearish trending in trending mode. The top pattern should be, as I showed you before, go down to hourly here, should be kind of a rolling top. We did not get the rally up like I was expecting. So we're down here trading at 488. This would mean that we would get some sort of a top possibly coming up like this, rolling over and then rolling back down into these lows. You can see we have this channel. So, there's a chance here that we could see some sort of, let's just do it from here, some sort of channeling low, kind of like this, indicating that the high we could get to today on the SPY could be around 515, 514 before we roll a bit downward. Now, this is a bit longer. I don't want to carry it out. This is hourly. So again, we might see a move back up into this 514, 515, and then roll back down. That's kind of what the topping pattern sets up. Now, secondarily, a topping pattern could be a roll up into this area, potentially, and then just a bit of a stall, a little roll over stall. Okay, so we're really looking at, kind of a moderate upward trend here to set up the top. The topping pattern typically is top resistance is really, like I said, a move up to establish resistance. Resistance right now is clearly up near this level, this 515, 518 level. The top could be anywhere in this area. So it could be, 500, 505, 515. I'm guessing that it's going to be around 515 because I believe that, we're going to see some recovery back up here to the upside. Now, we're still watching this low level. So be aware that we're still watching this lower channel here as the really 480 right down here. That's the low of in my opinion, the low of the consolidation range, and 520, 525 up here is the high of the consolidation range. Now, anywhere in this range is still, in my opinion, consolidation. So again, if we roll up here top, we're still in consolidation. If we roll back down, consolidate, we're still in consolidation. And I think that, you think, well, Brad, how long is it really going to take for us to get out of consolidation? Personally, I think that the consolidation channel moves in a kind of a downward cycle trend through June. So be aware that I think it's going to move down into this downward cycle mode. And it's going to be kind of a downward drift through consolidation into this lower breakout. Now, if anybody knows anything about price action, I need you to understand that support and resistance are not hard concrete ceilings or floors. Price can get through support and resistance, testing the waters. So hypothetically, a move down below this level here would not be overly concerning to me because price does attempt to explore support and resistance outside of support and resistance channels. That's how price works. If you don't know about it, it's called price exploration. And if you think that support and resistance are ceilings, like on buildings and concrete, they can't go through it. You got a lot of learning to do. Just don't take it the wrong way. Support and resistance is soft, fuzzy. It is not hard like concrete. It is just a imaginary line in the sand that shows where supply and demand for the stock price is created a boundary. That's all it is. It's a fuzzy level that can be breached at any time. And again, it happens all the time, just like we saw up here. We had this very big top. We rolled out. We hit these new highs. Everybody should have been in the buy mode up here. I told you, wait. We could get rejection. That happens, and boom, we went all the way down into a sell trend. So again, here's kind of the big picture. And pay attention. We're probably going to roll into consolidation, slight downward trending, all the way through May and June into that July low. So we'll come over here to the QQQ. Again, QQQ is setting up a topping pattern. This is daily. We come over here to hourly, drag it up out of the way. And again, QQQ starts at 411. We're still above the support resistance channel. We're probably going to see a move, up into this area, rolling over and trying to come back down. It's going to be a tightening day. What this is telling us, guys, is that we're running into a tightening pattern. Then we finally get our breakaway on the 11th. Then we get our up, down, up, which is in carryover mode, which will be carrying over the current trend. We get our base rally. We get blank. We get bearish exhaustion. Bearish exhaustion, obviously, a base rally is pretty much what it says in trending mode. It's a rally phase. Bearish exhaustion means we've kind of reached the top again. So when you come up here and you look at where we're going, we're really kind of moving into this sideways trending. If the patterns hold up, we're moving into sideways trending, get a little bit of a base rally, and then we run into bearish exhaustion right up here. So here's our little base rally, and here's our little bearish exhaustion. Again, staying very cleanly through these ranges. I'm going to get rid of this. Set this up here. Setting up very cleanly through these ranges. So really, we have kind of a consolidation range right there. Somewhere between, let's call it 400 and 442. Okay. Let's go take a look at gold and silver. Gold and silver. 1 second. Come back over here. Okay, gold and silver are, where are we? Right here. Starting to make that big base rally, which is right up where I expect it. So now, remember, we're going to run into resistance right around 3100, 3120 in gold. And we are looking at a Harami inside pattern today, followed by a crush in trend mode, and then a gap potential in counter trend mode, followed by a rally on Monday, a blank bar on Tuesday, an inside breakaway in counter trend mode, a momentum rally on the 17th, and then another blank bar, and then a momentum rally on the 21st, which all bodes well to us moving back up into this area. Try to draw again. So you see we've got the base here holding up nicely. And we've got this secondary kind of a move here. We're going to probably try to stall in this area before we momentum our way back out of it. And remember, the markets are hedging risk now. So you see silver is holding below this level that I drew in green. And that's going to be a concern for silver, indicating that, we're going to probably get a breakout, but silver's going to struggle up in this area before we get up here and before we try to move up here. Obviously, very good to be seeing these new highs. And again, you remember we went through this way back over here through this time frame. We went through this whole period where the markets really consolidated, for weeks. And oops. And so, you're gonna be looking at this and thinking, how much longer can it go? How can it stall? Well, this is a pretty good, kind of a breakdown here in the sense that, we could get a rally. Here's an example. So we get a rally roughly, let me see, not low to there, breakaway. So let me call it from right here. We get kind of a rally mode from here up to here, pulling back, consolidating, and then rolling. Okay, so now, fun thing to do is to take that, copy it, and roll that right up here and see how it holds up. Not bad. A little shorter on the upward move, so about a 3/4, maybe 618, 3/4 rally. Pullback was almost identical, the same, came right down to this level, and now we're kind of rolling back out of it. I would say that we're moving, pretty solidly into an uptrend here in metals. And like I said, I think if you know anything about the Asian people, the Chinese people, when things get a little crazy, they will immediately start hedging very heavily into gold. So, we're probably looking at a very strong demand level for gold right now. I think that's going to drive gold prices very cleanly up to 33, 34, 3,500 or more. Okay, lastly, check the time, 18 minutes. We come back over here to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, where do I need to go? Right here. So Bitcoin is moving very cleanly into my downward cycle. Again, this is daily. You can see we're stalling here. Now, I will warn you that we're looking at kind of a potential pause here. We could get a little move back up into this channel. This red line right here represents the upper resistance channel of the downward Bitcoin trend, really because we have moved through the excess phase peak pattern, through the peak, through the flag here in blue, into the breakdown mode. This sets up our consolidation rates, just like what's happening in the SPY on an intraday basis. So this is daily basis. We're got the same thing. And you can see how we've trended downward, 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 essentially since back over here in February 25th. We've gone all the way through March. We're coming into April. So almost 2 months of consolidation here. We could get a little bounce here. I mean, I think it's struggling for direction and under quite a bit of pressure. I do believe that ultimately it's going to move down to 63,000. And we'll see how it plays out. So, ultimately, guys, this is kind of a precursor to what I believe is happening back over here. I believe that we're looking at, the same type of, go back to daily here, same type of precursor. Here's our excess phase peak pattern. Here's our breakdown below the flag. Here's where I thought consolidation would set up. Here's where the tariffs have now moved consolidation to the downside. And if I'm correct, and we consolidate for a couple of months into this area, we will likely move down to this ultimate low level around 425, 430, or we may end up getting and I mentioned this yesterday and a couple of times, we could end up getting a reversion trade to the upside, an invalidation of this consolidation phase trying to break out to the upside. Now, I personally don't believe that that is going to happen until back out over here in October, where we get the big breakout, but it could happen at any time. The way this works, invalidation to the upside in this pattern could happen at any time. So we got to keep it on our mind that it could invalidate at any minute. Okay, guys, so I'm going to kind of leave you right here. Thank you for all the great comments. Love it that everybody's making money, and I'm going to end it before I go too long. All right, guys, go get some today.